Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, is running for president, and he has actually surged in the polls. He's a really charismatic speaker, and I think it's resonated with a lot of voters. Obviously, this is still early on, but some really positive news for him and his campaign. South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg surged into third place in a poll of the Iowa caucus released Sunday. 11% of likely Democratic Iowa caucus goers surveyed by Emerson Polling said they would pick Buttigieg to be their 2020 presidential nominee. Overall, Buttigieg places third behind former Vice President Joe Biden at 25% and Senator Bernie Sanders at 24%. I get it, so he's really charismatic, he's really bright, it comes across. I heard him speaking Norwegian to reporters. I'm Norwegian, so I love that. And he is a veteran, he's openly gay, he's young, he's interesting, he's a fresh face. I've read that he admires Bernie Sanders and tries to model his politics after Bernie Sanders, which, hey, we love that here at TYT. And he's a great communicator. Listen to his answer on Medicare for All on Morning Joe.
Look, I think what we have to decide is, are we going to keep being defined by where these fence posts are, or are we going to do what the right very successfully did over the last 40 years and redefine them? Medicare for All is a great example. Again, ACA, which was a conservative proposal, came to be caricatured as left-wing by a very disciplined right-wing message machine, right? What is Medicare for All? It's a compromise. I mean, in the UK, you got national health care. That would be the left-wing, the true left-wing position. The true right-wing position is free for all corporate. And the compromise position is a single-payer system where you have private doctors but a public payer. We've got to stop allowing the right to move the goalposts and characterize the entire center of the debate.
So it's unclear if he actually supports Medicare for All. He supports single-payer with some caveats, but I just thought that was such a fantastic answer because it's so true. We can't afford the current system that we have, and we're pretending like we can't afford to change that system. No. Tens of thousands of people die every year from lack of insurance, and it's way more costly than other countries per capita. We just have to address the system, and then the costs will go down, but people can't comprehend individual costs versus taxpayer money, and no, the rich might actually have to pay their fair share. But I digress. Great answer from him. Some more of his policy positions. He supports the Green New Deal proposals from House Democrats, and he was one of the 407 U.S. mayors who signed a pact to adhere to the Paris Climate Accord after Trump pulled out of it. He supports single payer, again, Medicare for All with some sort of caveats. He supports labor groups very strongly in Indiana as well, and is also against NAFTA. And for gun control, he supports universal background checks, which to me is really the bare minimum. So that concerned me, but this concerned me a little bit more in terms of foreign policy. Buttigieg supports pulling troops out of Afghanistan, but has criticized Trump's plans to withdraw from Syria. He has also said Iran poses the greatest threat to Israel in the Middle East. Supporting pulling troops out of Afghanistan should be a no-brainer for a Democratic nominee. So I'm not really going to give him points on that. And the fact that he didn't want to withdraw troops from Syria and criticize Trump for that, that's, I don't know, man. And the fact that he's using neoconservative language when it comes to Iran, that should concern people because as a small town mayor, I know it's not a small town, but just rhetorically speaking, we aren't going to know a lot about his foreign policy views. So the fact that this is how he's differentiating himself should concern some people, but I think he's a good candidate, and I understand why the Iowa caucus goers seem to like him. So much can change. The Iowa caucus isn't until February of next year, so much will and can change when it comes to these poll numbers. But it seems like he's a pretty progressive choice. I don't think he's as progressive as Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or certainly Tulsi Gabbard's issue of non-intervention. He seems to be on the opposite side of that, which, as I said, is concerning to me. So he wouldn't be my number one choice, but I really like what he's bringing to the table. He's a new energy. He is a great communicator, and I think he will be a formidable force. So we will have to see how he does, but the fact that he's climbing in the polls this early, the fact that he's third, with that last name too, it's hard to pronounce. So we will see, and I think he's someone to definitely look out for, and I hope to be able to chat with him and ask him some of these questions about his foreign policy as we move forward in this primary season.